Belfast in the dark of early morn. British soldiers came marauding, wrecking little homes in scorn. Heedless of the crying children, dragging fathers from their beds, beating sons while helpless mothers watched the blood pour from their heads. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons, but every man will stand behind the men behind the wires.
From the 1960s to the 1990s, headlines flooded newspapers worldwide about the terror attacks, poverty, and gang violence throughout Northern Ireland. The world's perception of the Irish Troubles largely begins here. However, to truly understand Anglo-Irish relations, one must look at them in their entirety. Richard Gilbert de Clare's English invasion of the Irish mainland in 1167 was the first of many efforts by the British to gain control over Ireland, until, in 1603, where they achieved complete occupation. The period of British rule was a time of significant loss for the Irish people. Throughout their occupation, British society emphasized their genetic superiority to the Irish, characterizing them as violent, heretical, and savage. Following the 1366 Statutes of Kilkenny, Irish land was sold off to British colonists. Speaking the Irish language and wearing Irish clothes were forbidden, and intermarriage between the Irish and English was outlawed. The Protestant Reformation brought further division, as the modern-day sectarian lines of Catholic and Protestant were drawn. Following the establishment of the Church of England, the English government put a significant level of effort into converting the Irish to Protestantism, including banning the Catholic Mass and forcing the English Book of Common Prayer onto the Irish Church. However, Protestantism had very little uptake in Ireland, largely due to Tudor insensitivity by attacking Gaelic society while attempting to promote revolutions in the church. The growing tension between the Irish and English communities was further exacerbated by the Great Famine, in which 1 million Irish people starved due to failed potato crops and a lack of British intervention. Ireland's population has still not recovered to pre-famine levels. The Irish revolted through this oppression countless times throughout their occupation, achieving success nearly 750 years after the original English invasion, with the 1916 Easter Rising. This led to the Irish War of Independence, which ended in 1921. This victory did not guarantee freedom for all of Ireland, though, as the British still wanted to protect the largely Protestant areas of the nation and maintain control of the key port city, Belfast. Thus, the 6 counties occupying ancient Ireland's Kingdom of Ulster became Northern Ireland and remained part of the United Kingdom. The centuries-long sectarian divides and new border across the island sets the stage for the era that we now call the Troubles.
It was a horrible time. I remember roads being blown up and blockades and the British Army and checkpoints.
Between the years of 1969 and 1999, 3,601 people were killed in Northern Ireland's Troubles. Bombings and shootings could happen without warning, targeting city centres, pubs, buses, and residential streets, meaning civilians were often caught in the crossfire. Armed paramilitary groups on both sides exercised significant control within their communities, carrying out attacks as well as internal punishments against those accused of betrayal or cooperation. Heavy military presence, constant surveillance, and frequent raids created an atmosphere of tension and mistrust. Inside the prisons, the conflict continued through protests that escalated into hunger strikes, where imprisoned members refused food to challenge their treatment, with several dying and becoming powerful symbols of resistance.
Ask you, what is the first thing that comes into your head when I say Ireland and the Irish to you?
North seem to be rebels, South seem to be leprechauns.
I don't know whether you've ever read W.C. Sellers and Yeatman's potted history of England, where it said that Gladstone thought he found the answer to the Irish question and the Irish fooled him by changing it.
But I think the Irish ask for a lot. They're supposed to be religious, and they're fighting not politics but religion.
The mental image of Northern Ireland is corrugated iron.
Why corrugated iron?
All in blown up buildings.
However, as the traditional symbols of revolution, guns, bombs, and political promises rang out through the North, another mechanism of rebellion emerged: music.
Everybody has a song to sing.
And music was an escape. They'd still get together and all play music together. Fiddles, flutes, and singing songs. Where we come from, singing songs is the big thing.
The 60s and 70s marked the prime of countless traditional Irish singers, such as the Wolfe Tones, the Dubliners, Tommy Makem, and the Clancy Brothers. These artists had success not only in Ireland, but on a global scale that Irish music had never reached before. Oftentimes, these artists would sing rebel songs, or songs about tragedy, and in this way, they were able to share Ireland's struggles for freedom, both past and present, with everyone in the audience.
When I play, I always try to get history across to people. And I put my shows together the same way my father would have, where you're there to entertain, but you're also there to educate.
Irish music's global success was only a small part of its role in the Troubles, as traditional music offered Irish people a solace in their culture and a comfort during times of war and devastation.
It's absolutely part of the DNA of Ireland, of its people, of its history to be very mindful of its tragedies. And while it's certainly Irish literature and song certainly soars in its success, it also sort of wallows in its misery.
It was just after the Battle of the Bogside, and everybody knew bad times were coming, but they threw a big party one weekend before the Troubles really hit in Derry. And my father sang Four Green Fields. Actually, he was at home in Dromiskin on the Friday night, and the phone rang and my mother answered it, and the voice said, "Is this Tommy Makem's house?" "It is." "Could I speak to Tommy Makem?" "You can." And my father said, "Hello." And the voice said, "If you step 1 foot on that stage, you're going to get a bullet in the head." And it was an outdoor stage. But my mother didn't want him to go, but he went and he did the show on Sunday. Ray Durham next to him playing guitar, and he sang Four Green Fields. And he said that's when he knew it was more than a song. He sang it, and the electricity from the audience made the hair on his arm stand up.
There were a lot of rebel songs sung, and there were a lot of anti-Catholic songs sung. That is how they deal with things. They sing a song about it.
Though significantly less popular on a global scale than Irish jigs or ballads, the Protestant cause wrote songs describing their loyalty and devotion to the king. These were typically exclusively written in English, while many Catholic songs had Irish translations.
Protestant or unionist expression of music and culture because it comes from a certain ascendancy or power structure that didn't need to be hidden or in any way obscured. It manifests itself as, fifes and drums on July 12th.
In this way, it may seem as though the differences in the music shows the fundamental difference between Catholics and Protestants. Slow, droning fiddles and extravagant fifes could never work in conjunction with one another, but two voices could. And many voices met in 2007 at Croke Park, a sports stadium historically reserved for Gaelic games. For the first time, the English game of rugby was allowed to be played at Croke Park in an Ireland versus English match. Following the national anthem of the Republic of Ireland, Ireland's Call, the unified anthem of the Irish rugby team, was played, embraced by the players from both sides of the border and fans throughout the stands. In this way, the 26 counties from the south and 6 from the north played as an island, united in revolution of song and spirit, and a hope for a more peaceful future together. Ireland is a country that has suffered immense sorrow and shared devastation throughout its history. And yet despite this, it has produced some of the most prolific, talented, and globally recognized artists in the world. Artists such as U2, the Cranberries, and the modern-day Kneecap continued the Irish tradition of song and songwriting in all of their contemporary work. Ireland's music is not just fast-paced fiddles for St. Patrick's Day, but inherently central to the island's culture, allowing the Irish to interpret and uplift the world around them. Irish music during the Troubles and throughout Irish history served as a form of revolution because it allowed the Irish to express their anger, their sorrow, and even their unity.